Viva Sakata, Buen Provecho, everyone. It's your boy Jason, the Vlogging Rapper! And that's right, it has been 18 years since the release of the SEGA DREAMCAST, Sega's swan song to all gamers everywhere, and happens to be my #1 favorite console in the universe. It really is. The SEGA DREAMCAST is still sitting pretty in my game area next to the system that killed it, actually, the PlayStation 2 and the Nintendo GameCubes. I mean, they're all part of the same console generation. But the SEGA DREAMCAST will always hold a special place in my heart, even more so than any other game system that I've ever owned. Simply because I was a big fan of Sega since the Sega Genesis days. I mean, I was one of those guys that, bought into Sega Genesis because Nintendo, well, Sega does what Nintendo don't. So, it was a no-brainer for me. Plus, I've always been a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fanatic. I am a Sonic the Hedgehog fiend. And if you don't believe me, why don't you Google up Sonic vs. Team? You know what I'm talking about. But in this video, I want to talk to you about the top 5 things you probably didn't know about the SEGA DREAMCAST going on right now in the year 2017. So let's get down to business, guys. Top 5 things that you never knew of the SEGA DREAMCAST in 2017.
We got her! Hi, Randy.
Well, hello.
It's thinking.
Online gaming still happens. That's right, if you have a SEGA DREAMCAST, you could go online and play some of your favorite Dreamcast games with your friends and strangers alike. Here in 2017, still happens. Even though the console's been offline since 2001 and Sega officially pulled support for all servers, there are people that are setting up private servers for anyone who wants to play some of their classics like Phantasy Star Online, some of the 2K Sports series, so on and so forth. Now obviously the Dreamcast comes packed with an old traditional modem. However, there is something called the Dream Pi, which is going off of the Raspberry Pi technology that people have created, and you can use that to create a proprietary wireless connector, or whatever it's called. But basically you can connect that to the Dreamcast and pick up a Wi-Fi signal from your internet. So how cool is that? 2017, you can still go online with the first real video game console that's been that popularized online gaming. Number 2 is that games are still being released for the SEGA DREAMCAST. Believe it or not, there is a list of independent developers that are still creating games for the SEGA DREAMCAST. Some of them are multi-platform, so they exist on Dreamcast, PC, and other systems, but the fact is that Dreamcast is still getting official releases, not from Sega, but from these hardcore dedicated developers that they still see the potential in the Sega console. Furthermore, it's very easy to program for. And second of all, there's such a dedicated fan base that it makes sense to release games on the Dreamcast console. One game that's being prepped for a 2017 release is Alice Dreams Tournament, so look that up on Google and check it out. It is being prepared for a 2017 release, and I, for one, am looking forward to getting it. There are patches being released for the Sega Dreamcast. Now, before patches and DLC was really a thing, Dreamcast kind of had that concept already, using the internet connection and then the VMU, which would store these patches and DLC items. Floyd Brothers was a game that was released way back in the day, and there was a press release that came out saying that the DLC for the game has finally been unlocked. So if you wanted to go ahead and download it, you can go ahead and do that. So just Google search. I'll probably have a link in there so you can know how to do that. But basically, for so long, that game finally has an update, and it's 2017. It's crazy. You can get an HD output on your Sega Dreamcast. Now let me explain. You can't get native HD. In fact, it's not even 1080. The max you could probably get is 720, and maybe some sort of upscale to 1080, but it's not true 1080. There has been many different peripherals that claim that they can do this. And there's been many tests that have been done online on YouTube. You can see the people trying it out. Some of them have been wins, some of them have been disappointments, so you really just have to do your research. But if you have an HD TV that no longer accepts components or VG or whatever it is, all you gotta do is, find that system that works for you and hook it up via HDMI, and you can get Dreamcast on your HD TV. And number one is Sega is going to be releasing a streaming service for the Nintendo Switch. Now this is just news that came out recently within the last couple days, and as a matter of fact, Sega of Europe had confirmed the news leak as part of its partnership with Nintendo. And basically what they're going to do is they're going to release this as a streaming service for the Nintendo Switch, which it makes perfect sense because, I mean, how awesome would it be to take your Nintendo Switch anywhere you want and be able to access these Sega games. Now, these Sega games are going to be straight from the Dreamcast library, and the name is officially Dream Stream. Here's a logo of it. You can see that picture there. Dream Stream. I don't know if that logo is official yet. Again, this was just a news leak, so this could be a fan-made logo, but it makes sense. It looks good, and I'm just excited because essentially you'd be having a Dreamcast, full-fledged Dreamcast on your Nintendo Switch. And for what once was brutal rivals, Nintendo and Sega, the fact that they're working in this cooperative way is really exciting. It's an exciting time for gamers everywhere, especially gamers who love Sega, like myself. So, Dream Stream coming out for the Nintendo Switch, brought to you by Sega, accessing all your Dreamcast titles, or at least some. Some have been confirmed in the list, but as far as all of them, I'm hoping. So details are very scarce, but it's exciting, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today, but let me ask you this. Are you excited for the possibility of a streaming service from Sega on the Nintendo Switch? I know I am, but let me know in the comment section below. Give me a thumbs up, that helps out the channel, and subscribe if you're not already. I make videos as often as possible, and I will see y'all next time. It's your boy Jason, the Vlogging Rapper! Much love, God bless, and as always, yeah now, peace!